When attempting more advanced trails, it is important that you have the skills and knowledge, along with a properly equipped vehicle, to be able to do so. Stepping out of your comfort zone from time to time is often what it takes when trying to learn your vehicle and new skills while out on the trails. Today I attempt Telegraph Line MT-42, a black level trail rated at a 7 out of 10 on onX Off-Road. I previously thought these trails were impossible for me to attempt, but I've only been limited by my imagination coming from the Bronco Sport's capabilities. Now that I'm in a true 4x4, trails like these are starting to become more of a reality. I won't be alone today though, as I'm joined with my friends as we're trying our most advanced trail yet on today's episode of Tales from the Trails. Are you ready?
I'm a little nervous.
Are you?
Open diffs, kind of scared.
Yeah, but you got a two-door on 35.
We got the two-door wheelbase. I think we're gonna be okay, but we'll see what happens. I'm excited.
Well, you have 35s, 3-inch lift on a two-door Wrangler, solid axles in both ends. So I think you're gonna have wheels down most of the time and you'll have traction.
We'll see. 13 PSI.
If not, bro's got the winch on it and he'll be able to hook it up to my butt and haul his ass out.
And use it for the first time.
After you try to give it some beans first.
Yes,
see if you can give it throttle.
Yes.
Don, you ready?
I'm gonna drop a tiny bit more out of this side, but yeah.
Sochi, you're saying off camera. Are you ready for this? How you feeling?
Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Sochi said she's not gonna walk this one. In the past, I've shown when things get a little sketchy, she walks the trail.
Yeah.
She's not going to on this one. She promised Don she won't. She also said because Luke and I are running with top off and doors off, that it kind of gives you more confidence in the cab.
Yeah.
I already turned my lockers on. Let me film me going up, Luke, if you want. Actually, let me get down first.
Sorry, I didn't hear that first part. I already sent it. Oh, I can see you get done.
Yeah, I can come back to get Don. Already lifting back tire there.
Not bad, not bad.
Yep, just the start. Alright, so I pulled tire going down right there. Yep. So 3 weeks before I came out with my friends on this run, I had actually ran this trail for the first time with the Arizona Broncos Club. This day was off to a pretty rough start though. I had actually ended up showing up late and missing the Bronco Club. So I had asked these Jeepers if I could tag along with them until we had caught up. I've said it before in my videos and I'll say it again. I often try and prioritize joining the Bronco Club for runs on trails that are new to me. I find that I often feel more comfortable trying new trails when I'm led by the Arizona Broncos expert trail guides. I also like being able to be with other Broncos that have the same or similar builds to mine, which gives me a great frame of reference when picking lines on these more advanced trails. So this run is actually my second time attempting this trail, but only after having the knowledge of running it before did I feel comfortable trying it on my own. So this trail actually just reopened 1 year ago from the date that we had ran this on, April 6, 2024. The trail got hit by the Bart wildfire in 2005, specifically the area north of Bartlett Lake Road. The fire caused major damage and required the trail system to be closed for safety and restoration. After several years and many hours of volunteer efforts, the trail was reopened, but now it's a one-way only, running from east to west due to its narrow and potentially unsafe nature of two-way traffic.
Alright, I just got on 3 wheels and had to turn on my rear lockers. I like them how I was up.
So far, my fake brake lockers are working pretty good. We'll see if I have to click on the real one. Is it A-track? Yeah, they call it MTS now, it's the same thing.
Here's the original gatekeeper. think from this point forward, sway bar disconnect and stay on, just so it's more comfortable for me. I think they got an idea what's going on. No one's called for spots. So now we just get to enjoy the weather. All right, this sign says nosedive.
Every now and then, it's good to just get out of the vehicle and assess what you're about to do. Finding my line and wheel placement often helps ease my nerves on these advanced trails. This is something I need to remind myself to do just a little bit more than I probably think I need to.
11.
It is interesting just being able to see out.
Do I have ass in the air at all?
Nope.
Really?
You're not at the bottom yet. You're gonna, yep, right here. Now you do.
Okay, now, how high would you say?
About a foot.
Oh, that's cool. Is he on the ground now?
No, he's about like maybe 6 inches.
It feels like it though, huh?
Yeah. There you go.
That one got even higher. Yeah, the sway bar disconnect on the Broncos is like a cheat code.
Out here before it gets tricky.
You were up a couple inches.
Yeah?
Yeah, you were on 3 wheels. Probably didn't feel like it though.
It felt about the same in the Bronco once the sway bar was disconnected. It felt way worse with the sway bar.
It does.
Felt that a little bit.
You were up there. Got about a 17 to 20 degree like off camber angle there.
Man, they just naming anything nowadays.
Right? Why even name that after the nosedive?
Looking at here, what's the obstacle?
Just a big dive.
See if that rear bumper chop paid off. Haven't hit it yet.
Making sure I can see you. I can't see anything over this hood.
Okay, I'm going off the beaten path right now because there's a spot to the lake and I want to see if we can get there.
Check it out.
So at this point, we're starting to get a little hungry, and we're trying to find a nice spot to have lunch. Although this trail does look like it got hit by the wildfires pretty good, and might not be the most vibrant trail Arizona has to offer, it's always nice when you can reach some water for a break. At the time of editing this video, the temperatures in Arizona are already starting to reach triple digits. Days now have a high of above 100 degrees, and when we ran this back in April, it was a beautiful day, with a high of 73 and a low in the 50s. So with this being one of the last nice days of weathers in spring, Luke and I decided to take the tops off our cars. And I have to give a huge shout out to Rob and Carrie of the Arizona Broncos Club for letting me borrow their tube doors and making my Bronco look even more badass. You guys rock, and I really appreciate you letting me take these tube doors for a test run. I wish I could get a pair of these, and I definitely plan on getting some in the future. This trip really solidified that for me. Thank you guys so much. So as you can see, this is pretty much how most of the trail goes up to the halfway point. Nice and slow with a lot of big ruts. If you've built out a solid axle rig, you're definitely going to love being able to really show off its articulation. And if you're driving IFS, get ready to become comfortable when you're uncomfortable. You're definitely going to be on 3 wheels, as I've shown. So just keep that in mind before you run this trail, because now reaching that halfway point, and there are definitely going to be a handful more named obstacles awaiting ahead.
All right, here we go. Definitely pulled hard front tire there. My front was up in the air this time. All right, I believe we've reached the big hill. That is pretty rutted. I think I felt the back wheel get up, but it didn't. Wow, just felt crazy stable though for being ass in the air.
Now I just want to remind everybody who may be an experienced wheeler out there watching and saying this doesn't look that bad, the video doesn't always do it justice. And remember, we're still new to advanced trails. Steep, rutted inclines like this definitely get our blood pumping.
continue on the trail or head to the little creek bed that I was at for lunch with the Bronco Club.
Anything cool over there?
Water.
Yeah, I'll take it out.
Trying the knob. Last time I came out, I took the alternate route over there.
This is the only obstacle on the trail that has a bypass. With that being said, this climb is very simple. No different than anything else we've done up until this point.
It gets steeper and steeper as you go up. And all of a sudden, this rut turns into two very, very deep ruts.
This obstacle definitely looks tricky when you're standing here in person. This video might not reflect it, but what you notice is if you start climbing a little too high passenger, you run the risk of sliding and putting your door right into that big rock. But on the other end, if you try and climb that rock on your driver's side, you run the risk of touching your skid plates and touching your sliders and potentially bottoming out and not having the clearance to properly climb over it. And after the knob, you've pretty much completed Telegraph Line MT-42. This last bit of the trail is just a little bit rocky, and looking around, you can definitely tell that this part of the environment was either safe from the wildfires or just grew back a little healthier. You're definitely going to get some classic Arizona scenery here. And from here on out, it's pretty much just smooth sailing. Just enjoy the scenery and the ride. Overall, I highly recommend this trail if you're ready to push your build and your skill. For some of you rock crawlers out there, this stuff probably didn't seem all that complicated. But let me tell you, if you feel that you've got some decent wheeling under your belt and you're starting to look at trying moderate and difficult trails, then I think this is a good starting point for you. Expect several tight spots, full articulation spots, large rutted out areas, and off-camber hill climbs. Stock vehicles, beware. You might scrape the underside quite a bit. My stock Sasquatch Bronco has 11.5 inches of ground clearance, and I didn't touch skids once on the trail. Also, beware of side steps on your rig. There is a chance they could become gifts to the trail gods if you have lower clearance. Walkers are highly desired. Don and I got a lot of good use out of ours, but Luke and the Wrangler was able to maintain momentum and get through the trail without them. So glad this trail is finally reopened, and let me tell you, it's now become one of my favorites, with another successful run.